talked me down from the third floor window of, I'm sorry, it's the second floor. The only reason that I didn't jump is I didn't think I would kill myself. But he was able to remind me that when there are terrible disappointments, you really have to take a moment of pause and perhaps resolution and get right back out and keep fighting. And I want to thank him for that. I want to thank all of you for being there. And I want to let you know that this executive order is only a prelude. Anyone who's upset over some activities that occurred in Albany in the last few weeks, remember this. You've only seen the first act. You haven't seen the grand finale. Thank you.
Yes!
So let's bring on the Senate sponsor of the gender equality legislation that we'd like to see passed, State Senator Tom Duane. Once again, I'd like to thank the director, Glenda Testone, Glenda as in gender, and also to thank Mario Palumbo and Bruce Anderson for their service. And if there are any questions now, we'll be happy to take them.
On-topic questions from the media.
Member from the back, you mentioned the grand finale. Could you talk a little bit about that? What we got planned there?
Well, I just don't think that had there been a true vote of conscience in the Senate, that the vote would have been what happened. I think that legislators are often a little anxious over voting for a piece of legislation this controversial and having it lose and then having to explain it. I think there were many who would have been happy to vote if they knew that it was a way to win, and I think there is one.
So they were cowards.
No, I wouldn't ascribe any motive to that type of situation. You have to understand, this is a seminal moment in our state as we start to embrace others' rights. If they were cowards, and at some point in our lives we've all been cowards when we didn't recognize the rights of other people.
You're not, and we appreciate that, and we're going to get you reelected.
Is that a question?
No, that's a definite statement from the community.
Thank you.
Governor, it's Julie Wilson from The Advocate. I was wondering how you see any hard feelings that obviously coming from the marriage equality vote impacting any efforts to advance gender in the legislature. Clearly, there's a lot of acrimony. How do these things, how do we move forward?
Well, there have been hard feelings and acrimony in areas of civil rights that didn't work out as quickly as we would have liked them to in the past. And this is when the leaders have to step forward. And this is when hope has to dominate over experience and dreams have to elevate over reality. This legislation didn't pass. The vote was wider than we ever would have thought it actually would have been in the negative. But think of how difficult it must have been at times in the past when some other groups didn't have nearly the organizing power, the technological skill, the great advocates that we have, and somehow they managed to persevere. So really it's a call to action. Revolutions do not begin with injustice. They begin with hope. And what we have to do is hope and pray that there will be marriage equality in this state and then go and work like we know it's going to happen.
So, Mr. Van Capel mentioned maybe January, February, March, gender would come to a vote. Is that a maybe or is that a definite?
I wouldn't be able to tell you that.
Other on-topics?
People love to speak before they know their gender again. What do you do in your state to protect this?
Say Say that again?
As people learn to speak before they know their gender identity, what do you do to protect the discrimination? People who speak different languages.
Well, I think people who speak different languages, regardless of their gender identity, should be treated just as equally as everyone else in this state. And if they come to work for state government, that's exactly what this executive order will accomplish.
Any other media on topic?
Hi, Governor, Christian Salzer with the AP. Will this order apply to companies that have state contracts in their hiring practices?
We can't dictate necessarily to companies that have state contracts because we can't discriminate against them. But this is certainly the protocol that we will use when interviewing companies that want to conduct business with the state.
Thank you.
Sure.
Governor, there's an item in the papers today about the Native American tribe.
Sit down,
Down front, please.
Yes, photographer, down, down, down.
Tell them, Judy.
Thank you, Governor.
Down in front.
I was asked to sign a note for my son the other day. I signed the first letter of my first name and gave away the pen. We now have a new policy.
Yeah!